Hey everyone, it's Nye and welcome to another episode of Nye's Growing Space, the YouTube channel. And I have with you your dose of growth. So my mission is to share my growth journey in hopes to inspire you on your journey. And I always start my videos with telling you my mission because if you are a new viewer, welcome, and I just want you to know my vision. And a dose of growth is just a motivational video that is for you to take with you in for your day and just to have something to think about and to hopefully grow from. So today's dose of growth topic is why you need to learn your child's love language. And so for the people that have never heard of a love language or don't know where that comes from, I read a book a couple of years ago. It's called The 5 Love Languages of a Marriage, basically, of a relationship. And I read that. Me and my husband actually read it together, and it's by Gary Chapman. And it's a really great book. And then they also have a 5 love languages for children that I read about a year ago. And so the love language, basically what a love language is just like any other language, like English language, Spanish, all the different languages out there. In order for you to be able to communicate with someone properly, you have to be able to speak their language. You have to be able to know what they're saying. And so as far as the love language goes, it's basically everybody feels loved in their own way. And in order, everybody wants to feel loved, needs to feel loved, and we feel loved in our own very particular way. Everybody does not feel love. So for example, somebody may feel loved if they received a gift, but for someone else they could possibly not feel like they may not feel loved from someone by receiving a gift. So that just goes on into the 5 love languages. So what the love languages are words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, physical touch, and gifts. And so these are the different love languages that basically the book states that these are the 5 love languages that people can feel loved if you do them, and vice versa. So the love languages, basically, it started off with the book on relationships. And a lot of the times we focus a lot on how we can improve our relationship and how we can make our romantic relationships better. And we focus a lot of time and energy on making sure our romantic relationships are good, that sometimes and a lot of times that we let our relationships with our children fall short. We don't put that same time, effort, and energy into building a good, healthy, happy relationship with our kids. I know I talk a lot about having a healthy, happy relationship as far as a marriage goes, but what's also very important to me and what I think is very important to a lot of people is having a loving, healthy, and happy relationship with their children. And this is why I wanted to talk about this topic and why I think the topic is so important, which is learning your child's love language. Because if your child's love language is words of affirmation, then you can just tell them, really good things about themselves, affirm them, let them know how great they are, let them know how smart they are, how proud you are of them, and those different types of things. And the other important thing is when you know your child's love language, you also know how to love them in the best way that they will understand, but it will also teach you how to hurt them as well. And that's very important because I know as parents, we don't often try to hurt our kids. I hope never, but I know there's some parents out there that, they've been through some things, so whatever. So we don't want to intentionally hurt our kids. So if your child's love language is words of affirmation and you have no idea, then the words that you say, the way that you reprimand them and discipline them can actually have a greater impact on them than you would ever think. And it would probably scream and shout, my mom or my dad does not love me, I'm not loved, when that can be the complete opposite of what the reality is. But that's their love language, and that's where they feel loved the most, and that's where they can get hurt the most as well. So it's really important that you learn your child's love language. And so remember, I'm always looking down because I have like notes right here. And so we want our children to feel love. And what happens when our kids feel loved? What we really fail to realize is when our children feel loved and when they feel complete in their lives, they are able to be the best them they can be. A lot of the times when our children act out or when they do something, it's because they want our attention. Their love tanks are full, are empty. And the love tank is basically, if your love tank is full, then that means you feel loved and there's nothing anybody else can do. But as time progresses, your love tank, just like your gas tank, if you have a car, you got to fill it up with gas. Every so often, you got to put gas in your car. Otherwise, your car will stop running. So as far as the love language goes, everybody has a love tank, and that love tank needs to be replenished and filled often in order for us to be able to be the best people that we can be. And that goes for the same for your children. You want to be able to continue to fill your kids' love tank, and the way that you do that is by showing them that you love them in the love language that they understand. And when we keep our children's love tank full, then they are able to be the best them that they can, because they're not using their time and energy on trying to get our attention, or trying to basically get our attention in very disruptive and not too good ways, and it can cause a lot of issues. But if we just spend the time and speak to them in the love language that they understand, that can alleviate a lot of that, if not all of it. And the last thing, well, not really, I'm not sure. The next thing is, this won't be easy. And I know this doesn't go without saying, but sometimes you just need to hear it. This won't be easy. Just like anything else in life, when you want to become a better parent and become a better person all around, it's going to be tough. It is going to push you out of your comfort zone. The thing that's going to make this so hard is we have, as adults, as people, everybody has their own love language. And a lot of the times we speak the love language that we are. So for example, my love language is acts of service. So because acts of service is my love language, I show people that I love them by doing acts of service, by doing things for them, just because that's how I feel loved. But in reality, just because I'm doing that to somebody else doesn't necessarily mean that they feel loved in that way. But it's so natural for me to speak my love language, just like it's natural for you to speak your native language. So it's natural for me to speak English, but if I'm going to try to speak Spanish, it is going to be a little bit more challenging. It's going to take a lot more time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take practice. It's going to take awareness. And most importantly, it's going to take time. So don't be hard on yourself, but know that this won't be easy. Know that if, let's say, for example, if your child's love language is physical touch, but you grew up with, let's say, your parents not being too physical, not giving you hugs and kisses, and so that's just how you are. You don't show too much affection. You don't really touch. You're not really a touchy type of person when it comes to your relationship or even your children. And however, your child's love language is physical touch. So you're going to have to learn how to touch your kid, whether it's just on their shoulder, whether it's just a pat on the back, a hug every now and then. You're going to have to start practicing and doing different things to start learning your kid's language, because as a parent, I know, at least for myself, and I would like to assume for most parents, we want our children to feel loved. That's the last thing we want our kids to grow up and go out into this world and to think that their parents does not love them, and nor did they feel like their parents loved them. So if you really want your child to feel loved, and you really want your child, because it's one thing to know, but to feel is a whole nother aspect and a whole nother perspective, and can have a way greater impact on your kid. So if it really means that much for you, for your child to feel loved by you, then you will do whatever it takes. And the great thing about this is you have complete control. You have the ability to learn this information. I'll make sure I put the link of the book in the description so you can purchase it. And you will take the time, you will read the book, you will learn the love languages, and you will start implementing ways to show your child that you love them. So if you do know the love languages and you have read the book, I want you to think, what is your child's love languages? Do you know your child's love language? And how often are you showing your child that you love them in the language that they speak? And if you don't know your child's love language, and it's important for you to be the best parent that you can be and to love your kid in the best way that they will understand, then I suggest reading the book. I'm not saying you're a bad parent if you don't read the book, but what I'm saying is, if you want additional help and you're okay with knowing that you don't have all the answers and you may not know what you're doing. I know I'm winging it. This is my first kid. Every single year I'm learning something new and trying to figure this parenting thing out. So this is my way of giving you guys something to take with you and to help you become a better parent, if that's what you aspire to be. So that is your dose of growth. I hope you found value in the video. And remember, if you found value, that means somebody else may find value. So make sure you share and subscribe. Until next time.